It is Monday, not a victorious one. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. Myself and Mr. Eric Crocker will be joining us shortly. We got a lot to talk about. Good show for you today. Give me 17 seconds. We'll be right back.
Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. Touchdown! 49ers have won the Super Bowl.
And now your host, Ryan Hensley.
Now your host, Ryan G Hensley.
Did you like that? Showing off the little sweater. Look at the Ryan G Hensley Show sweater. It says keep grinding on the back. Just to keep you motivated, keep you going. And it says that right there. It runs a little small, so order a size bigger than you normally do if you decide to get one. Details in the description. I hope you guys are having a great freaking Monday. Despite the 49ers loss, Eric Crocker is going to be joining us soon. He had to run and do some things. So he'll be joining us soon. Melvin, do you like to spin? Did you guys like to spin? Yeah, man. Hit that subscribe button for me if you'd be so kind, man. I got a great lineup of guys that come on this show, and girls, excuse me, every single week. Mondays is Eric Crocker. Tuesdays is Marco and Brian Rennick. Wednesdays is, my memory is horrible, Steph Sanchez and Los. Thursdays is Johnny Dell and Rohan. And Fridays is Wayne Breezy. $50 Friday. We give out $50 every Friday. But you got to be subscribed to the show. Melvin says hit him with another spin. You got to dip your head when you spin. There you go. Yeah, man. Jay Gotti says like, comment, subscribe, and share. Oh, yeah. Garrett, don't. Garrett coming through. There's a 4-man front on Thursdays as well. Also, Vish is going to be joining me sometime next week. We're going to have a separate show outside of my normal morning shows. You guys should definitely be subscribed to this channel. I'm giving you the best that I got. Remember that song? Giving you the best that I got, baby. I'm not really a good singer, but I do love music. Yeah, man, it's Monday morning. The game was pathetic, as my friend says. That was a pathetic-ass game. I agree, but, it's not the end of the world. It is week 2. Kyle kind of got cooked by Brian Flores. We do have a lot to talk about. I want to start off positive. And again, Eric Crocker will be joining me shortly, as soon as he gets back from running his errand. But let's start off with some of the positive of this game, because there was a couple positive things. The first positive, real quick, shout out to Chris. Good morning to you. Good morning to you as well. The first positive I want to talk about in this game, Fred Warner. Fred Warner right now leads the NFL with the highest PFF grade of 95.8 for all defenders this season. He has 12 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 1 interception, 1 sack. Through 2 weeks, he is the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, in my humble opinion, and in the opinion of many people, and according also to PFF. Score could have been much worse without Fred Warner. I believe he is responsible for 2 stops in the red zone. The 49ers owe a lot to Fred Warner. They could have easily put up another 14 points, beat the 49ers 37-17 versus the 23 that they ended up getting. So we have to give a shout out to Fred Warner, who is holding it down for the 49ers. And if he continues at this trajectory, he could be Defensive Player of the Year. Honestly, looks better than he ever has, which is insane to think about. Fred Warner is actually improving right now. He's basically playing linebacker by himself. He's covering the entire field because he doesn't have another linebacker out there that really can help him. Devontae Campbell's not really very good. And DFF, we know what DFF is, kind of mid. Fred's out there by himself, man. He's playing linebacker by himself. 49ers have 1 linebacker. So they desperately need Dre Greenlaw to get back healthy after week 4. Week 5, I think, is the earliest that Dre Greenlaw can come back. And hopefully he is healthy and 100% back and back to his old ways, because the 49ers need Dre Greenlaw. But we're talking about the positive right now. Fred Warner is a breaking candidate for defensive player of the year. Like he should be defensive player of the year if he continues at this trajectory. D49 says, Ryan, I like your calmness. Good morning. Good morning to you. Ryan, capital G, for my guy Germ. I appreciate you. And Garrett says, don't forget about Curtis Robinson. Yeah, I mean, in the preseason, Curtis Robinson looked like the best linebacker. I mean, Fred didn't play. In the preseason, Curtis Robinson was the best linebacker to me on the 49ers. Tatum Bethune led in tackles, but Tatum Bethune is a rookie. I'm not sure what he would look like out there, but I really want to see Curtis Robinson. To me, he's earned it, and he is better than Campbell. Campbell is not good. So shout out to Fred Warner for holding it down. Remarkable play by Fred Warner. It's fun to watch. Someone go tell Fred Warner to unblock me. I don't know if you guys know, he blocked me on Twitter. I was like talking about him being the depoy last year. I've always been a big Fred. I like Fred Warner, man. He's dope. But then he had one bad game where he couldn't tackle anybody. And I said, man, Fred really let me down on this game. And then he blocked me. I feel like that was unnecessary. I like Fred Warner. Tell him to unblock me if you be so kind on Twitter. The next positive in this game is Jordan Mason continues to do really well, over 100 yards rushing. Again, he has 266 yards rushing, the second most in the NFL behind J.K. Dobbins of the Chargers. You knew Harbaugh was going to come out and run the ball. So J.K. Dobbins on the Chargers has the most rushing yards in the NFL. Behind him is Jordan Mason, which is great, man. Jordan Mason, happy for him. We all saw it coming. We all thought he deserved an opportunity to play, and he's been playing his ass off, going above and beyond just, the scheme of the 49ers, right? Like the first game against the Jets, by the way, I think what we learned from this game was just how bad the Jets are, right? The Vikings are actually better than a lot of people think, so we got to give Vikings credit for that. But we also learned how bad the Jets are. We were all like just riding high up after that Jets game, but I was watching that D-line. That D-line was horrible. Robert Saleh, man, I'm honestly disappointed. Robert Saleh, really loved him as a defense coordinator for the 49ers, but I am like shocked about how bad that Jets defense is. It's not good. And the 49ers obliterated that Jets defense, and we thought it was because the 49ers are that good. And they're good, don't get me wrong. The sky is not falling, but also the Jets defense is not good. If you go back and watch the all 22, you guys will see what I mean. Jordan Mason had huge gaping holes to run through. In this game, a lot more work was required by Jordan Mason, and he still pulled it off. Jordan Mason continues to just dominate in the run game. Let's talk about Jordan Mason's statistics. 20 carries, 100 yards, 5 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. I mean, 100 yards. You can't complain. And then he's second in the entire NFL with running. He also has a ton of attempts, right? So we got to keep that in mind. But yeah, Jordan Mason, another bright point of this game. We're going to get into all the reality and the negatives. And unfortunately, after a loss, the negative list is a lot longer than the positives. But another positive for me in this game was Nick Bosa. 2 sacks for Nick Bosa. So he's on the board with sacks. We were all wanting him to get home. And he finally did twice against Sam Darnold, which was good to see. So that's a good sign for Nick Bosa for the season. He has 2 sacks. So that means he's trending 17 sacks on the season. Not too shabby. So Nick Bosa, Jordan Mason, Fred Warner, those were the positives to me in this game. I was going to ask Crock. Maybe I'll ask Crock when he gets here. Deommodore Lenoir did okay as well. So that was good. But outside of that, not a ton of positives to walk away from. Here's one positive I'll say because of this game is a little slice of humble pie. There's no such things as good losses. I'm sorry. I don't buy into the good loss. This was a good loss. No, it's better to win. So there's no such thing as a good loss. Losing sucks. It wasn't good. But if you can extract some good from the loss, it's a slice of humble pie. The 49ers, probably like me and like a lot of 49er fans, and like a lot of you guys, were probably riding a little too high after that week 1 performance against the Jets. I think everyone overestimated the Jets as a good team. They're not that good. And the 49ers beating them was not that big of a deal, as you see when they played the Vikings. So maybe they needed a little slice of humble pie. I know I ate some humble pie watching the Niners yesterday, and hopefully the Niners did as well. Sometimes that's what it takes. Get your ass kicked by a team that you thought you were going to beat to humble you and make you recognize that you got a lot more work to do. So that may be the positive coming out of this game. Seattle Seahawks lead the NFC West right now, 2-0. So we'll see what happens with them. You know, the teams they beat, I think it was the Patriots and whoever, they kind of scraped by, but the defense does look a lot better under their new coach, McDonald. So that's something to watch. Good news is my guy Melvin's Cowboys in the chat, they lost as well. I believe the Lions lost also. So that's a good thing as far as the big picture playoffs in the long run. We're going to talk about the negatives of this game, and that list is a lot longer. I also want to give Crock some time to show up. So let me run this 17-second commercial by our sponsor, Chris McCurgy. This show is sponsored by Chris McCurgy. Check out this video. I'll be right back in 17 seconds. The Ryan G Hensley Show is powered by the law office of Chris McCurgy. Chris McCurgy and his team have been empowering businesses, guiding families, and taking care of the injured since 2012. In California, for estate planning, business, or personal injury, be smart and contact Chris McCurgy. All right, contact Chris McCurgy. He handles personal injury, family estate planning, as well as business law. And he's a 49er fan and a great dude. Hit up Chris McCurgy. Details in the description of how you can do that. Let's talk about some stuff here, man. So, first of all, let's talk about these receivers, man. So Debo had 108 yards on, what did he have? 110 yards on 8 receptions. So it's like, wow, he did good, right? Yes and no. The total on his numbers look good, but this is what I want to show you guys. This isn't good. When Eric Sobert is getting the most separation out of all the players on your team, out of the highly paid 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers. If he's getting more separation than everybody on the team, more separation than Debo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, and Joan Jennings, you got a problem. Debo actually had the least separation of everyone on the team. And we all, we kind of know that Debo doesn't get open. He has to be schemed open. When he gets the ball in his hands, phenomenal. When he gets the ball in his hands, phenomenal. Sean says you got to give Debo some love. Again, when Debo has the ball in his hands, he's one of the best weapons in the NFL. The hard part is trying to figure out how you get the ball in his hands. Yesterday, Debo had 0 yards of separation. He did not make it easy on Brock Purdy. Yes, he had 8 catches for 110 yards, but go back and watch those catches. Highly contested. The only passes that were pretty open for Debo was those deep crossers that they run. He was open with those. The throws from Purdy were a little high on those. Kind of dangerous. It's dangerous to throw high over the middle. But luckily, Debo went up and got 2 of them. The rest of there was a sideline throw. He was open on that. Besides that, no yards of separation for Debo Samuel. He continues to struggle getting open, so it has to be schemed open, and all those passes were very contested. Brock forced a couple in there. Brock had 3 turnover-worthy plays yesterday in the game, and the interception as well as another near interception both came to him trying to force the ball to Debo Samuel, which you can look at, hey, Brock shouldn't be forcing it, but also Debo's not open. So as a quarterback, though, there were some plays, and we're going to talk about Brock more later. There were some plays that were available for Brock Purdy underneath some checkdowns that he just didn't either see or want to throw for whatever reason. But then we got to talk about Brandon Ayuk. So look, if you look at this chart right here, that dark circle, that's the league average. The dark circle is the league average. And Juwan Jennings, Debo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk are getting less separation than the league average right now. That's a problem. And we're going to talk about Brock Purdy. We're going to talk about sacks. But when we're talking about sacks and talking about Brock Purdy, you need to keep this part in mind. These guys are not getting open. Now, Jawan Jennings is not a fast dude. He's never really got open, doesn't really create separation. What he does is uses his size and kind of box out like a basketball player rebounding. That's how Jawan Jennings has always gotten open, gotten his receptions, and he has good hands. So when you throw to him, he's pretty sure-handed. So that's how Jawan Jennings has always gotten open. He runs a 4.7 240. He's not a fast dude. Deebo Samuel has never been good at getting separation. It's all been schemed up stuff. But once he gets the ball, he's ridiculous, and he continues to be that. But again, still not getting any separation. The only one that's kind of concerning and below normal, really, for the player is Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk having below average separation is extremely rare for Brandon Ayuk. I anticipate, in a week or two, Brandon Ayuk will turn it up and be able to get that separation, get back to his old self, because he's never had problems getting open, and he has throughout these first two games. So it leads me to believe it's got to be because he hasn't played football since February. That's really what it could be. Now, there's the other thing. Here's the other thing. No Christian McCaffrey. So Christian McCaffrey requires a lot of attention. He's kind of like Steph Curry on the Warriors. When Steph Curry's playing basketball, the teams that are defending Steph Curry are 100% focused on him. He gets double teamed. He spreads the floor. When you take him out of it, there's no longer that concern for Steph Curry, and they can stick with their man more. Same thing here with Christian McCaffrey. When Christian McCaffrey's in the game, other teams are concerned about Christian McCaffrey, not just as a runner, but in the passing game. Those choice routes, that's how they live. They lived on choice routes last year. I don't know if people realize this, but Christian McCaffrey, I believe, had less than one target less than Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon, I'm throwing numbers out there, but if I remember correctly, mom's calling. I'll have to hit mom later. But if I remember correctly, Brandon Ayuk had like 4.9 catches per game, and Christian had like 4.2. So Christian McCaffrey is not only a threat in the running game, he's also a threat in the passing game, and not having him allows defenses to focus more on the rest of these guys. We look at Eric Solbert here and wonder why he has so much separation. I mean, he wasn't targeted a lot, so that helps, right? One freak play that's above average. And also, nobody cares about Eric Solbert when you're going up against Deebo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. That's who they're focusing on. And when you take CMC out of it, there's less to focus on, as opposed to when CMC is there, they're really dialing it in on that. Nick Nice says, Ryan, answer. No, you know what? I know what mom's calling about. I know what she's calling about. So I will call my mom back shortly. But I feel you. You got to answer the phone when your mom calls. If I didn't know what she was calling about, I would definitely answer it. But I already know. So we're good. We're good. Mom's okay. Everybody's cool. So, yeah, man, I mean, the receivers got to get open. And that's a big part of the reason why Brock Purdy is getting cooked. Another big part of the reason, the third and fourth down efficiency for the 49ers, I believe the 49ers were 2 for 10 on third downs on offense. 2 for 10 on third downs. Fourth downs, I believe they were 1 for 3 or 1 for 4. So I'm trying to remember, it's 1 for 3 or 1 for 4. I'll look. But it wasn't good. Let me make sure I got the correct numbers for you. Yeah, 1 for 3 on fourth down, 2 for 10 on third down. Translation, not good. So here's the thing. Why did the 49ers lose yesterday? Obviously, the defense gave up a couple big plays. My man Crock's here. Let me get my man Crock. He's backstage. There he is. What's up, dog?
Yeah. What's good?
Good to see you, man. I just went through the positives of the game. But let me I talked about Jordan Mason, Fred Warner, and who else did I talk about? And Bosa. Any other positives?
Fred Warner's playing at like defensive player of the year type of level. Obviously it's been 2 games, but just the impact plays that he's made, his ability as one defensive player to kind of single-handedly keep this game from being a blowout. Like I think it could have easily been a lot different, but
At least 2 more
because of his
touchdowns.
third down stop, obviously he had the interception in the red zone, forced fumble near the goal line, 2 impactful plays that gave the 49ers an opportunity.
Yeah, man. Fred is playing like the deep. He has the highest PFF score of all defenders in the NFL right now. Fred
Wow.
Warner. Yeah. So he's definitely.
Where's TJ Watt on that?
I don't even have it written down, but I was looking at it this morning just for Fred. I should have looked to see who's with him. The other positive I gave was Jordan Mason. So obviously he's second leading rusher in the NFL, total yards.
Yeah, Jordan Mason. I mean, he's playing. He's running strong. I think naturally the you want to say, oh man, he runs like Marshawn Lynch. But a guy's name that I brought up this morning on my show was Marion Barber. Like, doesn't he look like Marion Barber out there?
That's a good one. Yeah, he reminds me of him. That's a good one. And yesterday he earned it more. I feel like the first game, the Jets defense wasn't really even touching him for a minute, but yesterday I feel like he was, breaking tackles earlier and sooner.
Yeah, definitely. That was awesome to see. Just how strong he's running, and I can't wait to see, when CMC does come back, what does it look like with both those guys, kind of giving a thunder and lightning type look. Do the 49ers say, all right, we got CMC back. Maybe now, we trust him a little bit more. And now, CMC, you don't have to have 25 carries. Maybe you can split a little bit more to kind of, preserve CMC for the long run.
Yeah, man. And the last positive I had was Nick Bosa getting 2 sacks, got home to Sam Darnold, which was good. Do you have any positives besides those 3 dudes?
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's aggressiveness on 4th down. For me, that's something I've been looking for out of him. And I know on that last one, you didn't quite get the results that you wanted, but just to see him have that mindset of like, kind of a little bit more of a killer instinct in that situation, I was excited to see that. And I think the 49ers are going to need that. You want to win a Super Bowl, it's going to be because, Kyle, he decides to drop his nuts a little bit and it's going to be in like that type of situation. So, I hope, I know they get the results they wanted on that 4th down near the goal line, but I hope that doesn't change how he goes about it moving forward. Like I compared it to blackjack. I'm somebody that always hits on 15. And I feel like once you're that guy, like you just always hit on 15. I mean, obviously, unless the dealer is showing a bus card, but you always, all right, like I hit on 15, that's what I do. Sometimes you're going to miss, a lot of times, if that's what you do, you're going to, reap the benefits of it. So I hope that he doesn't shy away from doing it in that situation.
Yeah, man, I agree. A lot of people were, complaining about it, but like usually we're complaining that he's not more aggressive in those situations. So I like the aggressiveness, but then you got to execute. You got to dial something up and execute. That touchdown
on both sides of the ball, like that's the issue, right? Like because I see in the chat, Sid says passing up 3 points on the road, like he doesn't agree. You should go with it. Here was my thought process. You go for it. You trust your guys to be able to convert. They don't. But in the back of your head, well, if we don't convert, well, the Vikings have to drive 99 yards. How much do I trust my defense? A lot. You should be feeling high on your defense after what they did against the Jets. And in 2 plays, you give up 97 yards. I think just that swing right there makes it easy to be like, oh, well, you take the points. Like, nah, man, you went for it on 4th down earlier. You got it. I liked it, the aggressiveness. 4th and goal from the 2. Show that same aggressiveness in that situation. You got 2 yards to get. Let's get it. Let's go. It just didn't work out. And then you got the 97-yard touchdown play. Like that's a tough turn of
and I want to break down that 97-yarder with you. It's on the list of things because I want to get your take on it. But and to Kyle's credit on that 4th and 2, and I wasn't thrilled with Kyle in this game, but I like the aggressiveness. And on that 4th and 2, Juwan Jennings was open. Brock Purdy was passing to him, and it got tipped. So if that didn't happen, it probably would have been a touchdown. So, I mean, it's football. It happens, But yeah, I do. But in general, though, Kyle's been getting his cooked a little bit by Brian Flores the last 2 years. And that's the thing. I wanted to get your take on this. Christian McCaffrey played last year against the Vikings, and they got 17 points. They played the Vikings again today, 17 points. So a lot of people are saying this is a Christian McCaffrey effect, and maybe there's some of that. But I think they got 17 points last year against the Vikings, and then they got 17 points this year against the Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. That's off memory. So prove me.
Yeah,
let me know if I'm wrong.
it was 17 points last year. They had what three straight games of scoring 17 points.
Right.
And Flores was the defensive coordinator last year
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
Brian Flores, I mean, obviously, great scheme. One of the things that you take away from it, I thought, and I know we'll get into different performances, but I was like, Brock looks a little more gun shy than we're used to seeing. Typically, quick decision maker, gets through his reads, finds the right answer. And this game, it was like he was hesitant, and that hesitant turned into 6 sacks. Now, I'm not saying it was all on the quarterback, but he's usually able to offset maybe in the offensive line not playing as great because he is good with his reads, getting the ball out of his hands. And whatever Brian Flores was doing was throwing Brock Purdy off to where he made some decisions either to eat the ball and take a sack, or one of the throws like that throw, it was like a slot fade to like Kyle Juszczyk into double coverage. Like you throw a slot fade to your fullback in the double coverage, instead of throwing the sit when they never bit on the pump to the sit, it was almost like he was predetermining where he wanted to go. And I wonder how much Brian Flores, just the game flow, gameplay, what he's doing, the different looks, how much of an effect did that have on the way that Brock Purdy looked in certain situations?
Yeah. Now, before you got here, I was sharing this because I want to make sure you saw this as well. The separation for the 49ers receivers, all the receivers, wide receivers, were below average in separation in this game. Debo had none, which is funny because he had 110 yards on 8 catches, but those were tough throws for Brock Purdy. Juwan Jennings, he's not known for getting open, but he uses his body to catch passes. But even BA is still struggling, I think, because he hasn't played since February. That's my best guess. But I think that's part of the reason why. But it's also Brock, man. Like Brock has 8 sacks right now. He's taken 8 sacks this season. Second to only Gardner Minshew and Caleb Williams. Those are only 2 players that have been sacked more. They both have 9. And Debo is sacked technically on that one play, so that's 9. So basically the 49ers have the most sacks in the NFL. What do you attribute that to? Is it the separation or what is it?
That's tough. Again, I think every play has its own story. I would say just kind of just watch without watching all 22 yet on that game. I'd assume that a lot of the sacks had to do with just maybe the protection not being great. You get sacked twice against the Jets, that's not earth-shattering. If you take another sack or two, against the Minnesota Vikings, it's not that crazy. But when you get sacked this amount of times, you have to start to look at, okay, is this an issue with the offensive line? Shoot, I want to say maybe the first play of the game, the 49ers dropped back and threw the ball, and I thought McKivitz got beat on that play. Or it was like one of the first couple plays of the game.
Yeah,
where he's getting beat. It looked like he tried to make the guy run the hoop, but he was able to take a good angle to the quarterback. So,
I got the here we go. 49ers pressures and sacks. So Colt McKivitz gave up 6 pressures. Trent Williams gave up 4 pressures. Dominic Pooney 3. Aaron Banks 2. Jake Brendel 2. Now I don't know how accurate these are, to be honest, because they're running a lot of stunts. So to me, it's difficult. Who do you blame? It's very hard to figure out who's to blame for not passing the stunts off correctly. But those are the numbers. McKivitz, and McKivitz every game preseason, and both of these 2 games so far, McKivitz has had a holding penalty or a penalty of some sort in each game. So that has to be cleaned up too. But I did want to ask you this, bro. So, obviously the protection is not good. That's part of it. The receivers are not getting open. That's part of it. But according to that guy, Nick, what's his last name? I can't remember. He says 49ers are allowing a sack per dropback of 11.7, worst in the NFL. Conversely, quarterback Brock Purdy has an average time to sack of 5.76 seconds, which is second slowest in the NFL. So they're getting sacked the most, but Brock has a lot of time before he's getting sacked. I don't know if he has a lot of time or if he's scrambling, he's buying time. But basically, it's taking a long time for them to sack him, but he still has the most in the NFL. What does that say to you?
Not sure quite what he's seeing from defenses at times. Now, you look at the stat sheet, right? I mean, I looked at it, and somebody just commented on Twitter, mentioned it on Twitter to me. Brock was 75%, 78%, something like that, completed like 78% of his passes, 75, something like that, right? He had a high percentage of completions, but when you watch the game, there were some times where he either took off running or tried to scramble, and didn't quite get there. And then again, taking the sacks at times where I thought, hey, there's a guy right there, open for you to hit, and you're looking in that direction. It's one thing to be like, you don't see Brandon Ayuk on the backside whoop a guy like DB fell on the ground. How'd you miss him? It's like, oh, well, that wasn't part of his progressions. But when you do see it and he's looking right at there and he pumps to it, doesn't trust what he's seeing, and then takes a sack, those are times where, man, a little bit longer in the play, clearly an opportunity to potentially get the ball out, but wasn't quite sure. So I guess the bigger question would be, how many teams can make Brock Purdy unsure of what he's seeing from a defense? And that would be the bigger thing, because if he's sure of what he's seeing, we know like how efficient, how good he is playing to play out. But if he's not sure and you start to trick him, and if more teams are able to do that, then does he just end up, killing a bunch of drives because he is a little bit afraid to pull the trigger? Or I don't want to say afraid to pull the trigger. Not quite sure what he's seeing from the defense.
Yeah, I think the Vikings and the Ravens have shown everybody what you do, and the Chiefs, how you beat the 49ers. Not just Brock, but how you beat the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan. You just blitz and come at them all different angles, stunts. Like it's
play man. I've had a big gripe with Kyle's just kind of some of the things to get guys open. Yeah. Like the NFL is tough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's tough. And to get separation, play in, play out, things like that is like, it's going to be a little up and down. But there's a lot of different things you could do. Matter of fact, I saw the Minnesota Vikings do it in key situations. What did they do on that third down? They had a long drive for about 6.5, 7 minutes almost, right, at the end of the game there. They motioned that receiver down to a bunch, and had him at almost like the 3 spot. Then had guys clear things out. He ran out right off their ass. Boom, wide open, right? Just wide open. That was a man beater. 49ers got a little confused, with the with the communication, and boom, you got a receiver wide open, right? But that's what that does. Motion the guy to that split, and they knew all along this is who we're going to. When are the 49ers going to do those type of things for some of the receivers? And we talk about, even Brandon Ayuk. I've seen Brandon Ayuk whoop dude's ass in man coverage. Sometimes maybe he's not going to get as much separation. So how do you help your receivers knowing, hey, this is my guy, this is my route runner. What am I going to do to get him the ball? Okay, let me motion him down to this tight split. It's going to force the DB to play off. Boom. That's how you're going to get more separation. They're like, nah, we're going to leave him X on the ball. Just go ahead, play man. And if he wins his route, he wins his route. And that's how the 49ers play and call their offense. So I do think that Shanahan could be a little bit more consistent with doing things to free his guys up.
Yeah, and he had that reputation going into last year that he does a phenomenal job of scheming players open, but he does. You don't see it this year though.
He schemes guys open with his scheme, and it's just a play call. So it's almost like a plug and play thing, right? Whether I have Brandon Ayuk right here, or if I have Eric Schaubert, whatever, the backup tight end, have him there. It's plug and play with the scheme. So, there was a play early in the game. George Kittle caught a ball out. I think they ended up calling like illegal shift or something like that on the Niners. But there was a play, and this is like, damn, how is he that open? Right? Like
Yeah.
he does have good concepts from that perspective. Like where, hey, this is the play. I'm expecting them to run this. If they run this, then this should clear out this for this. He does a good job of getting guys in open windows, calling plays like that. But if you're just talking about pure man beaters and concepts to free up guys and pure man beaters, I don't know if that's necessarily a big strength of his.
So he's good against the zone, scheming up against the zone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's man when he struggles. Yeah, and then you brought up real quick, I'm going to give a shout out to DSB Coaching Solutions, who is now a member. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Casey Wellwood, he says he padded his stats against the prevent. I mean, he actually talking about Brock, right? Like, so Brock went 8 for 8 with 57 yards on the final drive against prevent. So they were allowing him to just dump everything off. So 8 for 8 again for 57 yards. So you take that out of it, he was 20 of 28, 262, a touchdown, and 2 turnovers. He also was had 3 turnover-worthy plays in that game, according to PFF. He only has 1 touchdown on the year through 2 games, which is, not good, not like him. Are you concerned about Brock at all, or do you think he just bounced back against the Rams this year?
Well, they kicked 6 field goals against the New York Jets. And
Yeah.
a lot of those drives, you definitely want to finish, get some points on the board. As far as my worry meter, no, I think I viewed Brock different than some people. So it's not like I have this expectation of, I know they're like, oh, at least I even saw what's my guy's name? He's a former safety, played with the Broncos. I think he won a Super Bowl with the Ward.
You talking about?
I saw him.
Oh, that was on our team last year. You talking about?
No. Ward played with the Broncos, was a safety from the Bay Area.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But anyways, I saw him tweet out, he's no longer in the NFL. But he was like, oh, like if you don't think Brock Purdy's elite, you're tripping or something like that. But when I watch him, it's like, I think he has a superpower. I don't know if he's an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think his superpower makes it to where more times than not, I think he's going to do very well in games. If you say that that's an elite quarterback, then, all right. But what happens if a team does something to offset what his superpower is, then what does the game look like and what's his changeup? And, I think that's the part where, we'll see. But I think he's terrific with what he does. And I think it's great and awesome for the 49ers. So I would say that a game like this will be an anomaly unless another team has the defensive coordinator with the mindset to be able to do the things that the Vikings or the Chiefs or the Ravens have done against the 49ers. Like, is that like, oh, this is the blueprint? I would say no, because if that were the case, I think Robert Saleh would have did it, last week. And I don't think it was just Robert Saleh. He's a smart defensive-minded guy. I know Olbert calls the plays, but I don't think it's something that 49er fans should be too worried about. Some of the decision-making, though, that's the part where, I saw some things I've seen some things really throughout his career, but you kind of have to, live with it because he does have this knack for kind of making that sporadic play. But if you are going to be that guy that kind of does some things sometimes that is potentially a little reckless, then you have to be able to overcome it. And I'm not saying that he's, Jimmy Garoppolo, but one thing though with Jimmy, and I think Grant Cohn said this, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's he starts the fire, but then he puts the fire out. And there were games where Jimmy would, throw 2 picks, throw a pick late in the game, but then he threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? But 2 picks. And it's just like, gosh, why can't you just blow a team out? He was always kind of going to give you that. I don't think that Brock is does it to that extent, but he does kind of have the ability to do some weird things. And if a team capitalizes on it, I think he could potentially make some games a little closer than they have to be. But again, I don't he's played so well, so consistently. I have a hard time thinking that it'd be something that the 49ers have to deal with week in and week out.
Yeah, to me, when I looked at this game, or when I think about this game, and it just seems like it was everybody. Receivers not getting open, Kyle getting out schemed by Flores, Brock not making decisive decisions, the offensive line not protecting well. It seems like just the whole offense didn't do their thing. The only guy that really showed up was Jordan Mason. Seems like on the offense. But I want to talk to you about some of the defensive
Hold on, real
stuff.
quick. I want to say something about the chat. So Germ says Jimmy hit 400. People assume like if we're talking about playoff Jimmy Garoppolo, trash, right? Trash can. Regular season Jimmy, and during some of these runs, he played well. I don't know why people try to like they want to gloss over it. Like the winning percentage was good, completion percentage. He was throwing for a good amount of yards. Like there were a lot of times he played well. Like I watched him against the Cardinals have to throw for 400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns, and the 49ers win the game. And he threw a game-winning touchdown. Like those things did happen. I know we like to, think that the Jimmy Garoppolo the 49ers had was like what the Raiders had. Like, nah, the 49ers didn't have that sorry guy. Like he played well a lot for the 49ers, but postseason, he was kind of a shell of himself. I'll give you that for sure.
Jimmy was actually, if the first read was open, Jimmy's hella good. If the first read was open, Jimmy was your man. And Kyle did a good job of getting that open for him a lot of times. After that, that's when Jimmy, to me, struggled. Like if he had to go through his progressions, panic. If feet start moving around, and that's when he
kind of Jeff Garcia-ish. Garcia used to move around a little bit. Like he used to, it's like, man, why he got the little happy feet?
Yeah. Before we dive into the rest of this breakdown, Crock and I both sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, and 49ers there's a Monday Night Football game on tonight. You can use promo code Crocky, CROCKY, or you can use promo code Hensley. But I hit the 20% boost because I want to make 20% more profit on my little $15 bet, and I'm trying to figure out who we should roll with Monday Night Football, man. Where should we go with this? I want your help.
I think you got to go with Saquon Barkley's rushing yards. Like that, that's probably like my lock of the day. I'm going heavy on Saquon.
So, why is it locked? Oh, because I took the bonus, huh? Is that why? Let me take off the bonus and see if it unlocks it.
No, that shouldn't.
Let me see. Why is it locked?
See, the people must be jumping all over that. No,
let me see what they locked it, man. First quarter rushing yards, they got that. Or first half, 38.5. What do you think on that? First half over 38.5?
For Saquon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like it.
Or what about rushing touchdown? You think he gets a touchdown? We could also just do the receiving or rushing touchdown.
Yeah, it's for less, but I mean, if you're looking for just straight up winners, I don't mind it at all.
What's your winner pick on Barkley? Where would you go with?
It's his yards, but I don't know why they're not giving you the rushing yards right now. Let me see if I have it on my app. Make sure you guys, if you haven't already, man, download the Underdog app, man. They got the best live plays.
Yeah.
I have prize picks. Don't use it. All right. See, I'm able to do it on my phone.
Oh, so they got rushing and receiving yards over 99.5.
Yeah, but the on the app right now on my phone, I just clicked on it. I'm able to click on his you can't see, I got that damn bright ass light.
Let me see. I just refreshed it. Let me see. Oh, here we go. It's back. Okay, so you got higher or lower than rushing yards?
Higher. Give me that.
Higher.
No AJ Brown either. You might be good to take the 99.5 over, but yeah, I like the rushing yards a lot.
All right. What about the quarterbacks? Kirk Cousins, Jalen Hurts. What do you like here?
I'm not sure if I'm touching Hurts, but I kind of like Cousins passing yards. I know he didn't throw for many yards last game. That actually went down. That number was just at 225. Okay. But I really like the higher on that.
All right, we'll take the higher on that one. You don't want to touch Jalen? What about a rushing touchdown for Jalen?
Oh, it went down again. Let's go. Yeah, I need to hurry up and put my slip in.
Yeah. You want no? What else? What
Maybe
else strikes you?
what's Bijan's receptions? Does he have a Bijan Robinson? Does he have a reception?
4.5.
4.5.
It's tough,
What
huh?
do he have last game? Click on him. See what he had last game. See if we can
Wait,
start to.
wait. You can do that?
Yeah, then scroll all the way down. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling.
I didn't even know.
All right, so he had 5 last game, 5 catches
Yeah,
last game. I don't know, 4.5. That's just a lot.
it is a lot.
But they might need to. I mean, they might have to do it, but because
Yeah.
the O line wasn't great. So if your O line's not great, most coaches what do they do? Like, all right, let's throw some screens, get the ball into their backs, hands in space.
They keep changing to Kirk Cousins. They dropped him up a point. So what would you do here? What's your next pick? Bijan?
I'm already taking Cousins passing yards, so I'll stay away from Bijan's rushing. I typically like Devontae Smith. A lot of times you can't go wrong with him. I mean, even it's a little higher now because there's no AJ Brown.
Mm-hmm. They have 5.5 receptions. He'll probably get that. They're only paying out 0.86, so I'm sure they figure that's gonna happen.
If you think he's going to get 5.5 receptions, so if you think he's going to get 6 receptions, then I'll also assume that he has 72 yards. So I would go with the higher, so you're not taking money for less.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's 3. Should we go for more, or are we getting greedy?
I like 3 right now. If you haven't used it, they got the payout booster. So I would just put, I'm good. I don't know how much money you want to put on it, but you got the payout booster on right now. And
I think they only let us bet $15 if you use the payout booster. So there we go.
All right, that's 20%. Good right there.
All right, that's the play today. Download the Underdog Fantasy app. Use promo code Crocky, CROCKY, or Hensley, and you know how to spell that, I believe. That's your pick. That's your money one. Hey, so far, man, every week I do a easy money pick, and I post it on my Twitter, and I'm 2-0. So you're making money, and I know Crock has a amazing record at this stuff too.
Nah, right, man. I mean, luckily yesterday I hit on one for like 150, so that covered everything that I had lost in a day.
Yeah. Remember last week we did that big one, that long one? I think we did it together, and I hit all of them but one, which was the Brock interception. If I would have got it, I would have won $5,000, but instead I think I ended up winning, like, combined with all my bets, like 760 last week. But man, Brock threw a pick last week. I would have 5,000.
John Middlecoff almost hit on. He picked like 8 guys or 9 guys. I think it was 9 guys to score like a touchdown or something like that. And the payout was like $250,000.
What? How much did he bet?
He put $50 down.
Wow.
Yeah. And the payout was like $250,000, and he was one guy short. The Robinson, the running back from Washington, he didn't score, and they got in the red zone like 10 times.
Damn.
And couldn't score.
$250,000, $250,000 off 50. That's insane.
Off $50. Yep, 9 guys to score, and I mean, and he was right there, just the last guy. I was like, damn.
That's wild. All right, man, help me out with this, brother. That play, Justin Jefferson, 97 yards. Odom's lined up with him at the line of scrimmage. What did you see there? What defense was that? Why was Odom on Justin Jefferson? Like, help me out. What'd you see?
There's certain times where you get caught having a guy on someone you don't ideally want that matchup. I think that's the benefits of sometimes putting receivers in the slot. You can get favorable matchups, especially against a team that isn't going to have a defensive back shadow a guy. So, ideally you would say, hey, man, I want that to be Deommodore Lenoir, or I want that to be Traverse Ward. But Lenoir was to the backside of the play, and I want to say he maybe even blitzed off the edge. In my opinion, there's no way I don't have that being like, if I know that's Justin Jefferson, your antenna's got to go up. Why is Justin Jefferson in the slot here?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'll have put one of my guys on him, and then, all right, you want to bracket him and have a safety over the top, then cool. So what they did was have Odom in this slot. He had to come down. He had to play man. And there's times my defensive backs in high school, there's times where a guy gets caught on the guy, and, oh, man, it's my safety, maybe not one of my better coverage guys, but you got to play man on a guy in the slot. All right, so you had that look. I thought it was a good concept. You had Jefferson bend it in here, push up, push out to get the corner to be on his outside shoulder, and then broke across the field. So now I just have to run away from him. All right, so that was Jefferson's route. The underneath guy ran a dig. Now, watching it through the eyes of like the 49ers, I think they probably just throw that dig. Like I thought that the receiver had a step or two on Charvarius Ward. Brock Purdy, if I know anything about him, he's going to drop back, hit that ball with timing and rhythm, and boom, ball out, and you get the dig, maybe a catch and run opportunity. The safety there saw the dig as well. So he kind of got stuck being a little flat-footed, just a little bit. And that was just what the Vikings needed to be able to sneak Jefferson behind the safety. And now you have a whole lot of field for Jefferson to be able to just run under a deep ball. And I think when you look at it, it looks like, oh, damn, Sam Darnold hit him in stride. Well, I know Sam Darnold's thinking, all I have to do is throw it far enough into this huge open space, and Jefferson just has to run underneath it. And that's exactly what happened.
You're the defensive coach. You coach defense. And you play corner in the NFL. Are you allowing Odom to be? And not only was Odom on him at the line of scrimmage, he was on him like up. Like, first of all, why is he covering? He shouldn't have been there. I feel like let Charvarius or Demo or somebody follow Jefferson no matter where he goes. That's my first thought. The second, if you are Odom and you see Justin Jefferson across from you, why are you pressing like just right up in him? Like, give him some space. Am I tripping, man?
Well,
You're the defensive coach.
I like pressing him because, all right, let's not give him a free release. Okay, if I know I have a safety over the top, then yeah, let's not give him a free release. Just let him run through free. Because one thing about Jefferson, when it gets Jefferson in space, he's very fluid. He's kind of herky jerky a little bit. So you don't want him to mix you and then it create all kind of crazy space. So it's like, yeah, let's play press, get hands on, potentially reroute him a little bit, run with him, and okay, I got safety over the top. Like, that's what you ideally would hope happen. And that is what kind of happened. It's just, unfortunately, now when you have to actually run with him down the field and your safety, had eyes on that dig, and I like somebody in the chat said simple dagger concept. Yeah, that's what it is, the dagger concept. So your safety has eyes on that dig in the dagger, it just held him just long enough. So Odom, I think he's going to be the one to get blamed, but really this is on your safety. And the safety has to be smart enough to know, obviously I would love to be able to drive on this dig route, but I can't. There's no way I can leave my safety who's covering Justin Jefferson out to dry. I have to protect him first and then rally down and tackle anything else.
Yeah. And then what's crazy about it, though, I believe that was they pulled him out, Odom, right at like pretty soon after that. I don't know if it was for that, if he got injured. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. But all I know is after that play, Odom's out, Malik Mustafa's in. And to me, if you're pulling him out because you expected it in a run with Justin Jefferson, then you're tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that in situations like that, when you have a young guy who maybe you like, you find any reason to
pop him in
that you don't see as a starter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more of that. Like, Odom's been there all offseason. He's done well, may play interceptions in practice, right? Like, it wasn't like he had like this terrible camp. And you have your rookie. He did some good things in camp. Really like it. Would love to build off of it. They ain't camp right now because, Odom had a strong camp. And it looked like, okay. So you have to kind of give him that first crack at it. Game 1, thought he was good. But then game 2, we got to get Mustafa in there. I think they're going to be looking for any reason. 49ers did that with Hufanga, right? Like, they really liked Hufanga.
Mm-hmm.
And Tart was there. Tart got hurt. Hufanga came in, played well for the most part.
Yeah.
And it was like, after that, it was like, they have an opportunity to get the young guy in. They were getting him in there, getting him reps, taking Tart out in certain situations. So I think it was that where they're just looking for any reason to be able to get Mustafa on the field.
That's good perspective because I wasn't even thinking about that. And I like Malik Mustafa. So I'm all for the Malik Mustafa thing. I was just thinking, like, man, if you mentioned him for that, that's not really fair. But I'm glad that Malik is being fast tracked. We'll see what happens when Hufanga comes back. That's the question. But I thought Malik actually did good once he got in. Real quick, Casey wants to know, you're not going to talk about that cutback. Like, what did you think about how they were pursuing him once he caught the ball?
I think if the 49ers defensive backs were as fluid as the referee that was running with them, they may have been able to track him down. That referee was moving. I mean, hips, change of direction, speed. I'm like, well, sign this dude right now. But no, in all seriousness, I've always talked about the 49ers' lack of speed in the back end. Like they don't have guys that can really run. Maybe Mustafa might be able to run a little bit better, but Jair Brown, he's not fast. And I remember watching his college film, and there was a lot to like, especially on things underneath. The one thing that, Peacock and I noted was this play against Ohio State where even with an angle, he got outran by a running back. And people are like, oh, it doesn't matter. He plays faster than that. His RPMs or whatever on the tracker. And I'm just like, I hear you, but I'm watching and I see some areas where he gets beat. Now, speed at safety is kind of like having a big arm at quarterback. You don't really need it until you need it. And for most of the time, Jair Brown, playing with anticipation, playing with instincts, isn't going to need to be this blazer. But there are situations like that where you got Justin Jefferson in the open field and you or the other safety can't run him down because you're just not fast enough. So that's what that was.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I agree. Real quick, Melvin said, Crock, did you see the Shaheed play yesterday? I don't know what he's talking about. You know what he's talking about?
Yeah, man, he's catching bombs on the Dallas Cowboys. Caught a big post, got behind two guys. I got two TVs on the wall right here. So I had the 49ers on one and I had Red Zone on another. But a lot of it, I was watching the Cowboy game and seeing kind of what was going on so I could talk trash to my brother and them, even though the 49ers ended up losing. So I haven't said anything. Yeah. I saw what he did. He caught bombs. How about Derek Carr? You know what I'm saying?
I was driving back from Monterey yesterday, and I stayed and watched the Niners game, and then I left. So I didn't see barely any football yesterday outside of the night game. So I didn't see how the Carr was balling, I guess.
Oh, I mean, he's started as hot as anybody to this season. Like, he looked like the best quarterback in the NFL the way he's playing.
Daza
Cowboys got defense too. That's the thing. The first game you could say, well, Carolina Panthers, they're cheeks. You don't have any lofty expectations for Carolina. They suck. Matter of fact, this is one of the worst teams probably since you had the Cleveland Browns. The season they had like 1 win and then 0 wins, right? Or 0 wins and then 1 win, like that. They were terrible. This Panthers team is bad like that. So he balled there. But then when you go and you ball against the Cowboys, Cowboys, then it's weird because they just have these moments. Like remember last year, it was like they started off kind of hot, then all of a sudden they lose to the Cardinals, then the 49ers curb stomp them, but they win a lot of games. They're a weird team, kind of like you'd assume week to week they're going to be good, but they always have these weird letdowns. So I don't know if that's what that was against the Saints, but the Saints just destroyed them.
But 49ers are kind of like that too last year and this year, right? Losing to the Vikings the way they did, and last year lost to the Bengals, the Browns, the Vikings,
I think the difference for the 49ers is that, and I think this is something the Cowboys don't quite have. When the 49ers lose some weird games, lose to the Vikings, like you said, last year, lost to the Vikings. Browns ended up not being bad, but they were on their third string quarterback when they played the Niners, so the Niners should have won. You lost to the Bengals. They weren't good at the time, and they didn't really have a good year. But they beat the good teams, right? You lost to the Ravens, but you curb stomped the Eagles when they were riding high, and you went to their house. You curb stomped the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you beat teams. So, the 49ers lost to the Vikings this game, and they'll probably lose some other weird games this year. But I fully expect for the 49ers, when they need to get up for a game, they'll get up for that big game. And I think that's one thing that they do better than the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, man. Sorry, my internet's a little shady if I popped out there for a minute. Daza 0187 says very early, but how is the defense looking this year compared to with Wilkes. Wilkes was blamed for a lot of the defensive issues. Well, they're still struggling on third down, still getting ate up a little bit in the run. So, what do you think, Crock?
I thought that Wilkes was scapegoated, and I just thought he just wasn't, he just wasn't one of the guys, and that was what it felt like. So, there's numbers that kind of back up maybe he wasn't coaching as well. When I watched the games, I didn't see like a bad defense. And I'm not saying like that's every game, but like every game they were just awesome. But it looked like kind of a little bit normal. Like
Mm-hmm.
just 49ers defense is good. I
Yeah.
didn't think that they were just this bad defense. And again, that's not to say that there weren't some teams that did very well against them. But
Yeah.
for the majority of the season, like any other year, I thought that the 49ers defense played well. Not as great. Like if you tell me, was there a drop off? I would say, yeah. How drastic of a drop off are we talking?
Yeah, and I think
And
people,
so now we see this start to this season, and I thought they played well. It was very well last week. Had
Yeah.
everybody saying, "See, this is what it looks like. This is what it's supposed to
Yeah.
look like without Wilkes." And then you have this game, and I saw my timeline, and everybody, like a lot of 49er reporters and content creators, saying, "Well, they can't blame Wilkes on this."
Yeah. Yeah, everyone was. Even Matt Barrows was tweeting that out, which is rare for Matt Barrows. Is that a Croc sweatshirt? I'm trying to see. Is that a Croc? What's that? What's your sweater?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can people order
Crock
that?
Time University. That's my when my training my defensive backs. So
That's
I used
right.
to
Yeah,
sell these hoodies and stuff.
I was just showing people this, man. You gotta order this. Look, check it out.
I
Boom.
like that.
Yeah, man.
I see the got the name. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah,
gotta
so-
represent our last names. I see.
Yeah. Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, my last question, I guess, for you is there's no such thing as a good loss to me, but is being humbled early a good thing for the 49ers? Can we take that away from this as they approach the Rams next week?
Maybe the fans.
Mm.
But I don't think this is going to change anything within the building. I think the 49ers know who they are. I think they know, when they play their brand of football without some of the mistakes that they had that may be deemed uncharacteristic by them. I think they know that they'll win the game. So I don't think they look at this like, damn, like, like Cowboys going into 49ers, right? Like just getting blown out, or 49ers going to Philadelphia last year, blowing the Philly out. Like that's being humbled. I think 49ers here is like, man, we lost. Man, we had a block punt setting up short field. We muffed the punt. We turned the ball over uncharacteristically. We didn't score. So they're I would assume that the 49ers are looking at all of their missed opportunities. At least that's if I were coaching them, that's the angle I would take. Man, we missed out on this opportunity. Like, look at this, man. We gave up a 97-yard touchdown. If we make these subtle changes, I mean, we're back to being a dominant team on both sides of the ball. Like, they're still positive. You ran the ball extremely well. I loved the playmaking from Debo with some of the catches, over the middle in key situations. Like, Ayuk didn't have this super productive game, but 4 catches on 5 targets. Kittle played well. I think there's a lot of positives to take away from it. If I were a coach, to where I wouldn't look at that as being humbled. I would look at it as, bro, we gave them that game.
I mean, they really
They
did.
took it though. Like, so from the Vikings standpoint, it's like, nah, motherfucker, we took this game from y'all. But if I'm the 49ers coach, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they did. I believe they scored off of the interception by Brock Purdy, the fumble by Brock Purdy, and the punt block on special teams. I believe the Vikings scored on all of those things. That people are really hard on the defense, and rightfully so, especially after that 97-yarder. That one makes everything look worse. But if you take that out of it, and you just look at where the Vikings started when they scored, I believe they had really good field position on those, those three. I think they started the 50, the 25, and wherever the block punt put them. So, I mean,
we got to talk about too. I mean, again, this was some great play from Fred Warner away from being a blowout. Like it could have looked a lot different.
2 more touchdowns for he stopped 2 touchdowns. me.
Yeah, single-handedly.
Single-handedly. So, I mean, Fred was pissed off after the game. He said it hurts my soul, which is probably a little dramatic, but he's been playing his ass off, man. And nobody's out there doing it. I was talking about earlier before you got here that it feels like he's the only linebacker on the field.
Yeah. He's flying around. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I see Campbell, like he's flying around, but I mean, when you're next to Fred Warner, I think Dre Greenlaw did a really good job of like complementing that, like kind of matching that energy. And Campbell, I see him kind of, he's kind of getting there, but he's doing cool. He's doing cool. But Fred Warner, I mean, just you see a guy playing that well, making those kind of plays, it's kind of hard not to just continue to notice the guy.
Do you think this means anything long term, or are you concerned about anything, or is this just week 2 and they'll be fine? Because I mean, the Rams, let's be honest, the Rams defense is trash. They're giving up like 5-something yards per carry. Jordan Mason's going to have a field day. Brock Purdy is due a big game, only 1 touchdown through 2. He needs a big game. Law of averages. Brock Purdy's going to have a big game coming up. So you think they just bounce back against the Rams, or how do you see this playing out?
Yeah. I mean, they play well. They know them well. I think right now the Rams not playing great football. As a team
They're
that's
all
0-2.
injured. Yeah.
And Matthew Stafford's trying to hold down the fort, but I think they're putting a little bit too much on his plate. I don't think they're going to run the ball well against the Niners. I think the 49ers will be able to run very well against them. Yeah. And I think the 49ers will be able to play ahead of the sticks. You don't got Aaron Donald, who's a super game changer. It's going to be all on Matthew Stafford. Without Puka Nacua, it's just all Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robinson. It's like, all right, is that group going to beat the 49ers? Sam Darnold just beat the Niners, so but I think he had a lot of things kind of help kind of go his way to ease that his situation. I think the 49ers bounce back.
Yeah, I do too. And it's weird, man. I'm a football fan, so I don't like that I can't see Puka and Cooper Kupp together. Like, we haven't really seen them. Like, last year, Cooper was injured. Like, I want to see what both of them look like just as a fan of football. You know what I'm saying? Like, I enjoy that. And the Rams are hella beat up. I think, like, they have, like, 3 starting offensive linemen that are injured. They got a bunch of guys they put on injury reserve. So everyone was high on the Rams coming into this season, but I think injuries preventing them from doing really what they want to do. Yeah. I'm a football fan, Crock. I want to ask you this question. I put it up on Twitter. I'm surprised it's a very lopsided answer. I guess I should have figured this. But here's the question, the final question for you today. If you could only watch one or the other, you can only watch every Niner game but no other football, or you can't watch any Niner game but you can watch all the other football you want. You had to pick one. Which way are you going?
49ers.
Yeah, see, that's what the staff said. I mean, I had to think about
that.
Here's
my thing. Like, I love football, and I am a huge, like, I watch anytime there's game. Like, I don't want to do anything. I coach high school football, right? We got practice tonight. Like, I don't want to. Like, it's like, man, why we got practice during Monday Night Football and I will be able to leave at some point, but I want to just watch the football. I watch Thursday Night Football. Like, anytime there's college football, I'm sitting in front of my TV watching college football. I love watching football. But I also love my 49ers, and I know how passionate I am about watching them. So that's tough. If you're telling me, I don't have an emotional attachment to any other team in the league. Mm-hmm. So when I'm watching football, it's like, man, I enjoy it. But if you're telling me, well, you can enjoy that or enjoy something, watching a team that you're super passionate about, I choose the 49ers.
It's hard for me,
right?
Yeah, well, 92.7% of the people that voted agree with you, which is lopsided. I didn't figure it was gonna be that lopsided. For me, it's a tougher decision. I love the Niners, but man, you could watch way more football if you can watch everybody. So I don't know. I'm undecided on that. I'll take the cop out and say I don't know what I would choose. Cool, man. Well, it's good to see you, brother. What do you got going on in your show?
Oh, man, I was on today. Tomorrow I'll be back. I'm hoping that we could do a few film breakdowns, if the all 22 pops up in there. But yeah, we won on this morning, so make sure you guys check that out.
All right, make sure you guys are all liked to both videos, my channel, Crock's channel. You're subscribed to both channels. We do this every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Crock, I appreciate you, dog.
Appreciate you for having me on.
All right, I'll be on with Grant later sometime today. I'm not sure when, and then back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Thank you very much. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching the Ryan G Hensley Show. Your support is greatly appreciated. Please visit RyanGHensley.com to learn more about me and all of my businesses. Whether it's real estate, credit repair, solar, whatever it is, you can find out more about me on that website. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you know when we go live. Thanks again for watching. It's much appreciated.